What is happening, everyone? Welcome to the Crafty Couple. And we'll be having a look at all the Christmas madness that is going on. And I'm joined by two of my regulars, Mr. Keane Franey and Mr. G Sung Doug himself. And we're buzzing because we think there's a title challenge going. Keane, what do you think, mate, after that result last night?
It's coming home, lads, isn't it? Title 21. It's coming home.
Oh, we lost him. There he is.
I was just trying to get rid of it. I'm hearing playback in my ears, and it's doing my nutting. Doug, if you want to take it away, mate, while I try and sort this out.
Yeah, no worries. Based on yesterday, I'm not going to be the one that says we're in a title challenge, but I will say it's definitely getting interesting. I actually think, and hopefully we get into this, I actually think the main thing that we need to focus on is the January transfer window, because yes, I think if we make the right investments, we will be in a title challenge come February, March, April. But it all depends to me on that transfer window and if we do anything. Keane, it's just you and me, bud.
Yeah, it's just me and you. It's just me and you. Two-man party here at the moment.
We lost him.
No,
He'll be back. But Di Fabrizio said it there half an hour ago. Amad Diallo is officially done. Work permit sorted. That's title 21 confirmed, definitely. Diallo's going to lead us to goal.
I'm excited for him. And then Palestri is obviously looking like he's okay down in the reserves. So I don't know if he's top team ready, first team ready, but I will say this much. I do love our youth setup right now, and we've got some strong talent coming through. Strong talent.
We've been having strong talent for years. The makeup of most it's coming a lot of youth mates. You've got the likes of Timbo in the squad, Axel, and Mason, obviously Marcus, and you just continue to grow and grow that academy. And obviously Angel Gomez didn't work out, but hopefully, who knows, he might be back in the Premier League in a couple of years' time. Doug, I think yours second muted straight away. Yeah, it's you. Yeah, I'd say. But if we're looking at the fixtures that over the last couple of days, you had we obviously our result last night, but we'll start on Tuesday. Won't look at all of them because they weren't all that exciting, to be honest. And you had a last-minute winner at Molineux, Pedro Neto. Lampard apparently doing such a great job, currently below us, and we have a game in hand on them also. But apparently they were the best team in the country with their £200 million spend. But, remains to be proven why Ollie doesn't get so much love. Doug, what was your opinion on this game? Did you manage to catch it?
Yeah, I was able to catch it. And, I mean, I think Wolves, under Nuno, they're not becoming Liverpool in the sense that, they're going to be title contenders, but they're almost becoming where it's even if he's missing some top people that he needs, like a Raul Jimenez, they're still able to produce. And I'm not saying they don't miss Jimenez, right? But Podence, Neto, even Traore hasn't been playing as much this year, but he just has them playing a style that it seems to obviously suit them and they get results. And so I think that's where Chelsea's lacking. Is I don't know if it's Lampard, I don't know if it's the fact that the team just hasn't gelled, but they don't seem as together as a Wolves or a Liverpool or some of these, or even Spurs right now, where you just see that they're functioning as one versus a bunch of individuals.
Yeah, no, I see that point. Keane, did you manage to catch a game?
Yeah, I thought the Wolves were quite good. I thought even in the first half they were quite organised and they seem a very well drilled side. And people want to talk about Frank Lampard and they want to talk about, they can see what he's trying to do, and they can talk about Chelsea or title challengers. That looks like a team that plays off the cuff. People talk about Manchester United playing off the cuff. Chelsea are a team that's most definitely playing off the cuff. There's no balance in their side. They're playing a lot of attacking midfielders in the same lineup, and there's no balance to play. Olivier Giroud, I think, is class though. I think he bails them out a lot. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the country, but you look at the players like Kai Havertz, he hasn't hit the ground running. Obviously Mason Mount is in there and they're trying to fit him into the side, and he seems to be getting played all over the place. Christian Pulisic is only back from injury. I think he could make a difference for him maybe in a couple of weeks with some individual brilliance like he did after the lockdown. But you look at Chelsea, they're inconsistent, and that happened last season as well under Lampard as well. And people tend to forget like they were like 8 points clear of us, and we passed them out in the league. We were 15 points less than we passed them out. But Chelsea are massively inconsistent. But the fact Lampard's English, and he's a media darling, he's going to get less pressure off the media. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a witch hunt for Ollie at the moment. You know, like Ollie draw and lose the game, and like look, it's disaster. But Lampard won't get that abuse. Arteta won't get that abuse. The reason being is I'm not disrespecting these clubs, but Manchester United are a much bigger club than both of them clubs put together, and we have a bigger fan base than both of them, and we get more clicks than any club in the country, and that's just it. And there'd be any headlining created about United is more of a media circus than both clubs put together, and I think when you put things into perspective, Arsenal are closer to relegation than they are European places. And where's the disaster? Why aren't people calling for Arteta to be sacked? Why people are not, apart from the Arsenal fans, because look, we all know we've seen clips over the week of Arsenal fans going mad online, but like in general, like in terms of the general media, there's no outcry for there. So when you look at it in that perspective, both of them managers, Lampard and Arteta, are two managers who are massively underperforming in their jobs at the moment. But again, they're not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, so there's going to be no pressure on them at all.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying in that respect, and like Frank Lampard just will always get that sort of easier ride than most managers, as he is that England starlet that he was, and in all fairness, he is just quite a nice bloke as well. But I think it's obviously the English thing, the favouritism from the media, and in terms of that, it's similar to Ole in terms of. It would take a very bad string of results for the Chelsea fan base to turn against him because they absolutely adore him. I mean, there'll probably be a statue of him outside the ground in a few years' time.
There should be. Like well done as a player, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, moving on then to probably the biggest game midweek was Liverpool Spurs. I personally was gutted because the Scousers now, gaining grounds and looking like they're going to retain a title and get level to 20, and it was actually difficult for me to say that. It's disappointing, but Firmino with a last minute header. Did you guys see the Tim Sherwood on BT Sport? I think a lot of us did that.
That was comical.
I mean, he ate his words almost immediately. I think it was as he said, I don't see anyone getting to the ball here first from Liverpool, and Firmino darts it into the top. It was a brilliant header. Can't fault that. But Spurs were unlucky. They did have a couple of chances to win the game, and Kane's header sticks out, Bergwijn hitting the post, and looking back on that for them, that could be a massive opportunity missed there to gain ground on a title chance. And Keane, do you think now that Liverpool are they won't be caught, or there are more slip-ups to come in this league?
There is definitely more slip-ups to come in the league. I think, look, this title race this season is more open than it has been in previous years. I think Liverpool were very, very, very lucky to come out of Anfield with 3 points midweek. I think Jose set up perfectly, as he does in Anfield, and for the most part, he kept Liverpool at bay. Tottenham did create their fair share of chances, and Bergwijn hit the post. Bergwijn also sliced one across the keeper, which was literally inches from going in. Kane obviously again missed a chance, and we could have been talking about Spurs winning, saying, "Geez, like Spurs could go ahead in the title," because once Mourinho gets ahead, he never gets caught. Like, do you know what I mean? But you look at this, Liverpool still have their injuries. They still have a lot of games to come. Van Dijk isn't meant to be back until like February, March. If the title race can be kept close enough till then, I think we can have a chance. I think it benefits everyone if Liverpool progress to the Champions League. I think that really benefits everyone in the Premiership in terms of that, because they'll have to use their squad more, and you know how much Jurgen Klopp likes to do that, as you can see in his current media outbursts. But all in all, I think it was a 6-pointer, and that fixture on Wednesday. So I think Tottenham will be thereabouts as well. I think Jose is doing, as much as I hate to say it, he's doing a good job there. But all in all, it was a decent game. Though it was contrasting styles of play and different managers all together. But yeah, I'm sick and they got the win. I was hoping for a draw, really, so United could kind of gain ground on both teams. But look, I suppose I suppose from our point of view, we can only be concerned about ourselves in the moment and not anybody else. I think that's the approach we have to take.
Yeah, I mean, definitely that is the way. You just got to do your own job, get your own results, and worry about them boys later. Doug, what are you thinking? Are Liverpool starting to claw away from everyone else, or is the title race still as wide open as we all conceive it to be?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's if you just look at the table based on points, it's open, right? But where I think you start to separate, right, is if there, and I hate to say it, but if there's one team that could have a legitimate kind of complaint due to injuries and COVID, and if they had a poor run of results, it would be Liverpool. We would love it as United fans, but they're missing their top two center backs. They've had people in and out throughout this first part of the season. And yet, where are they at? Top of the league again. They topped their UCL group. And so that's where I'm like, you look at Klopp as just a manager, and he's clearly still getting the best that he can out of that team. And to be fair to Jose, when's the last time Liverpool lost at Anfield?
I think it was 2017.
It's been forever.
Against Crystal Palace.
Right. So to go there and just get a result, even a draw, would have been great. So the fact that they hung in there until basically the 91st minute was pretty good. And to your point, look at the chances that Bergwijn missed, Keane with that header that he just drilled into the ground. So they had opportunities. And so, I'm not saying that Liverpool's going to run away with it, because I don't think they will. It's just I don't want United to be dependent on other teams falling off again in order to get in positions of power. Like we should be taking this by the scruff of the neck and owning our games and winning our games, and then getting into a true title challenge versus relying once again on, like last year, Leicester fell apart, Chelsea fell apart. We played well, but just barely well enough to eke into that third position. Like if we really had hit the pedal hard, we would have left both of them in our rear view and been in third solidly had we just played really, really well. And that's what I want us to do now. Is like
Bruno came in and saved the day, didn't he?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Is like own it.
Seventh,
I just want us to own it right now. And this is our chance. And that's what I'm saying. If we make some investments in the January transfer window, I think that sets us up for the rest of the season. We don't have to focus on I wouldn't focus on Europa League. I would just say, let's go for the league. Let's seriously make a run at the league and go for it. Because if we can show consistency, I actually think we could beat most of these teams and at least put ourselves in a second position, convincingly.
Yeah.
Minimum.
I mean, that is the hope, of at least a second position. As you want to improve every season. We finished third last year. We won a title challenge this year. Obviously, there was no title challenge last year because Liverpool had it won in February, really and truly. But moving on to our opponents, that will be this Sunday. Leeds had a great comeback victory against Newcastle after initially going 1-0 down, running out that game 5-2. I mean, a great win for Leeds, and they're going into the Sunday's fixture absolutely buzzing. And did you catch their performance by any chance, Doug, or did you just catch the highlights?
No, I did. I watched it because I kind of wanted to watch them
do a little scout report for yourself.
A little scouting, but I mean, to be honest with you, I've paid attention to them all season because I really like how Bielsa plays. And to be honest with you, I think one of the concerns I have for us is how slowly we've started games, right? Like we tend to do this thing where for the first 15, 20 minutes of a match, we don't look like we're in it. You know what I mean? And that gives teams like Leipzig and even Sheffield United yesterday the opportunity to hit us and maybe get a quick goal or two, and we're already behind. And the one thing I can say for Leeds watching them so far is it's 90 minutes end to end. They don't stop. They just run and they attack and they just keep going. And that's where I'm like, if we aren't careful, which is why I think he's going to go with the highly defensive lineup as well. But if we aren't careful, it could be Leipzig all over again, where we're 2-0 down, 15 minutes in, we're trying to find an answer. they're not as good as Leipzig, I would say, obviously, but
I think they're a B. Like I think Leipzig are a great side, right? But I think Leeds are like a B Tech Leipzig. Like
Right.
they play the same kind of way, right? They're the same
Right.
kind of team, they play the same kind of pressing game. But if Leeds play a high line against us, they are getting torn a new one. I'm telling you now, they play that high line against us. Our front three are tearing them apart.
Well, that's why I think, I mean, if anything, I think we end up winning like 4-2, maybe even like a 5-2, no joke. Like, I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair, but I think inevitably we end up winning by at least 2 or more. But I'm actually excited for this because I don't think this is going to be one of those boring 1-1, 1-0 type games. This is going to be high-scoring.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we'll chat more about that one later. Keane, the Arsenal game, Arsenal were desperate for a result here, the poor bastards. I mean, hadn't scored a goal from open play since I can't even remember now. It was that long ago. Aubameyang hadn't scored since open play since the first day of the season. He managed to break that duck, but Theo Walcott on his return to the Emirates in a Southampton shirt managed to knock one past Leno, and it's improved slightly for Arsenal, but how much has it improved? I don't think drastically. Keane, what was your thoughts on that?
Oh, where do I begin? First of all, Arsenal, you're still 15th. Even with that slight little improvement of drawing against top 10 rivals, you're still 15th, number one. Number two, Arsenal are just I'm going to say it again. I said this 2 weeks ago. Arsenal are just a posh version of Stoke City, aren't they? They're so bad to watch. They are brutal. And again, disciplinary issues. Again, another player sent off. Arteta has no control over that dressing room. Even seen today, Willian and David Luiz are leading the dressing room revolt to get him out. Southampton really could have won that game the other day if they took more initiative, I thought. I think Theo Walcott scoring and celebrating was absolutely fantastic because Arsenal fans showed him a lot of disrespect before he left. So again, I like how karma came around there. But all in all, I think it's actually 2 points drop for Southampton. I can't believe I'm saying that. Like Arsenal, like at the Emirates, Southampton years ago, they said, yeah, the point of the Emirates is great, but a team with the way Southampton are in form and the form Arsenal in, that's 2 points drop for Southampton. It's a point gain for Arsenal in their fight against relegation.
Point gain for Arsenal in their fight against relegation. I mean, who thought we'd be saying those words at the start of the season? I was going to say it's sad to see. It's kind of nice to see your rivals faltering at certain points, but I've got mates who are Arsenal fans, and it is just poor torment for the bastards. They just don't know what to do anymore. They don't want to watch their team.
It entertains me.
No, I don't see. If you look at their fixtures, I don't see them really getting a win anytime soon. I think they could get draws. I can't. They have Everton coming up. They have City in the Carabao Cup. They have Chelsea. They have Brighton.
I actually forgot about Carabao Cup as well. That had actually slipped my mind that we have that still going on.
I can't see them getting on a run where they win a few games and start to like pick up momentum again. Like I think this is going to continue for them, I love it. I think it's great because 2 of my best friends in our grab chat, like they're Arsenal fans, and there's nothing better than just shitting all over them right now because they're literally in a relegation fight right now, and there's no way out.
I want to tell you this one. William Bryant on my channel is taking some pelters at the moment. Like, do you know what I mean? The poor bastard. Like, we are literally just. I think he's getting slagged every day by Arsenal. I'm actually starting to feel a bit lousy. Like, do you know what I mean? He's a nice youngster. Like, do you know what I mean? But Arsenal are just Arsenal, you know.
Nah, honestly, I've got a lot of mates who are Arsenal fans. It is because we've all been through the tournament, mate. I was the Moyes year. Was kind of similar to what they're going through now. I would, in terms of my experience of shit football, is what I would compare it to of the worst, and that was horrible. Like just going to Swansea at home and just expecting to not win anymore. Like it was brutal, and I wouldn't wish it upon any football fan. It's nice to see it happen to your rivals, but it is harsh on the poor fellas. And I mean,
can you honestly just imagine though if Arsenal get relegated? I mean, just honestly think about the scenes.
I'd piss myself laughing. Don't get me wrong.
Could you just talking about
you can still laugh and feel sorry at the same time. Like
but we were talking about, it's like, imagine you get to the last day of the season and you just see them in one of those last 3 spots, and they're going down to the championship. And this is Arsenal we're talking.
Oh no, mate! I can't even imagine it. Doncaster Rovers coming there for an away day. Like it'd be absolutely brilliant. But
just imagine this scenario, Arsenal lads, right? If they get relegated, this Dogson's brought up that situation, right? Just imagine this scenario. It's the last day of the season, and they're doing their watch along. Let's say fans aren't back by then, right? And the watch along is on live, right? Imagine they get done like by an Aguero-like moment in like the last minute of the game to relegate. Just imagine how beautiful that would actually be.
I want to see who they have. Hold on, I want to see who they have.
It's Arsenal and Chelsea next in the Everton and Chelsea next in the league for Arsenal. But lads, we're going to look at the fixtures this weekend, which there are some big games coming up this weekend. First game on Saturday is at 12:30, and it's Palace Liverpool. Palace, obviously, with that 1-1 draw again, 2 draws in a row now. Good point against Spurs. Lucky to come out of it with a point in the end after that brilliant save by Gaeta. Like he's a top quality keeper. I don't know how Palace have managed to keep a hold of him. And that draw against West Ham, unlucky because Haller just scores a once in a career kind of a goal, just overhead kick, absolutely spectacular. And they're a good side, especially at Selhurst Park. Sadly, there won't be fans in it because London has been moved from Tier 2 to Tier 3. So Selhurst Park, like great atmosphere, and the few fans that were there against Tottenham did obviously make a difference. You've seen them celebrating when they got the equaliser. And it must be devastating for him, like to have it back and then just have it snatched away straight away. I can't imagine it because I was absolutely gutted when Manchester didn't get moved down because I won't be going to Old Trafford anytime soon. But this game, Palace Liverpool. Liverpool obviously dropped points against Fulham. Did get that win, but another tough away day for Liverpool and another opportunity for them to drop points and us to gain ground on them. So, Doug, do you think Palace will pull something out of the bag for us?
I think because it's at Selhurst Park, it's a good home game for them. Liverpool has drawn a couple games over the last stretch of theirs. So I could actually see this probably being a draw, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think Klopp's going to try to manage his squad. And I think this is a good opportunity for Palace to sort of sneak away with a point, which against Liverpool, let's be real, is still a pretty good result. So,
yeah, I mean, it would be a good result for Hodgson. I mean, Big Sam won't be nicking his job as he's gone to West Brom now, so he can sit a bit easier. I mean, they're doing quite all right. Keane, what are you thinking about this game? Are Liverpool going to have another slip up like they did against Fulham?
I think we're going to see Istanbul Part 2. I think Liverpool will drop points.
Istanbul, what a night that was. Oh,
that was a beautiful night. Her best night in my life. I'm not going to say what the best night in my life was, but do you know what I mean? Like, I think Istanbul Part 2, and I think Liverpool will draw. I don't think they'll lose. I think they will get a goal. I think it'll be a 1-1 draw, but Christian Benteke will break their heart. He'll get a goal on the weekend.
Christian Benteke is suspended, isn't he? Because he got sent off.
He got sent off. He got sent off. Okay, I take that back.
Christian Benteke is suspended. Yeah,
someone like that score. Someone like that.
Gary Cahill to score. I can see something like that happening. I'm going to go for a draw as well myself. Southampton against City. City did drop this is the 3:00 kickoff. It's the last one on Prime as well, which is quite. I think it's actually quite good. Apart from the fact that they had Michael Owen on the commentary team. Like who is in charge of that? Who is his agent? His agent must be fucking phenomenal because he's one of the worst pundits I've ever seen in my life. But we move on from that fella. It's Southampton City. City obviously dropping points against West Ham, which sadly wasn't enough to keep Slaven Bilic in a job. I did say he'd be the first manager to be sacked. I was correct on that one, thankfully, at the start of my season. Mystic Mac coming striking again. The Kerry's answer to Conor McGregor right here. But City dropping points there at home, and that was a big shock for pretty much everyone. And now we're 3 points ahead of them, and it's looking like a tough season for Pep Guardiola now. And can Southampton, after the season they started, they're currently 4th in the league. Can they get a result against City? Doug, what do you think?
I mean, I think this is going to – I hate to say it, but I think this is going to be another draw. I think if I had to pick a winner, I actually think it'll be Southampton, because City, they don't look like the City that we've seen over the last 4 or 5 years, right? Like, there's just something off with them. Maybe it's the fact that, Aguero's up there in age. They don't have David Silva anymore. They still have De Bruyne, obviously. Their back four is better, but, like, there's just something with them that you don't see the same, like, level of, like, not fear, but, like, you don't look at them anymore and go, that's an unwinnable game. And the way Southampton plays is I look at them and I go, I think every single match is probably worst case a draw for them, because the way that they play, it's attractive football. And so I think it's either a draw or a Southampton win. If I'm going to pick one, I'd probably say it's going to be a draw. But like 2-2, like 2-2, something like that.
I'm going to go for a 2-1 Southampton victory myself. Keane, what are you thinking, mate? Do you think Southampton will pull something out of the bag for everyone?
I don't think they'll win, but again, I think I'm going to go the same as Doug. I think it'll be a draw. I think Hasselhutter, again, shout out Saeed, and I think Hasselhutter will actually, his style of play, I think is actually one of the perfect styles for Pep Guardiola. Southampton will be very organised, and they will press City high. They won't give many time in midfield, and I think the likes of Romeo and James Ward-Prowse are going to be really important in this game. I think if they're on their game, I don't see City breaking Southampton down, and Vestergaard as well in centre half. He's a good defender as well. So, yeah, I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw, and Danny Ings will get on the score sheet, because for a while Southampton were flying without Ings, but now he's back. So, I'd say we're going to get a 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw. I mean, yeah, it is going to be a tight game. It's a lot of tight games this weekend, I think. And moving on to the one we were speaking about earlier, Everton Arsenal, the 5:30 that on Saturday, and it's a massive game for Arsenal away at Goodison, where they win actually one of the 4 Premier League grounds that is allowed fans in as well. So a big boost for the Everton faithful there. So, I mean, it's going to be really tough for Arsenal, and especially with their Everton's win against Leicester midweek. I can't see Arsenal coming out of this with anything but getting their arses handed to them, really and truly. I think that it'll probably be 2 or 3-0 to Everton. I mean, Keane, are you on the same lines as me, or do you think Arsenal are back in business after that 1-1 draw at home?
No. Again, I'm going to do what I done last week. I predict another Arsenal loss. Arsenal are going to lose. They don't have a great record at Goodison Park. Even when they were on form in the last couple of years, Goodison is one of their bogey grounds, and that's not going to change. Everton fans being there as well. I remember saying on the podcast last week on your show that Everton fans coming back might make a difference to them, and it did last week against Chelsea, and it is again. It would definitely will make a difference this week against Arsenal. I'm going to go with a 3-0 Everton win.
3-0 win for Everton. I mean, yeah, I'd say 2 or 3. It just depends on whether David Luiz, breaks Richarlison's leg in the first half or not. Doug, what do you think, mate?
Yep, I agree with both of you. I think there's no way I see Arsenal winning this game. And, when we're talking about, like, title races and even just top 4 races, right? Like, Everton's right in the thick of things, right? They win this game. That's 3 points. That's 26 points I think they have. So yeah. They'll be right up amongst the mix. And, Ancelotti, this is a big game for them. So he's a big game manager. He's going to have his team ready. And Arteta, I think there's no Gabriel, right? Suspended.
Gabriel suspended, yes.
Xhaka is suspended. Like, that
Xhaka won't be putting on an Arsenal shirt again.
Probably not.
Nah.
But it's not like they had results or like people go off and they were bad and but the team mentality is still high. Like, that team is at a low right now. And so for them to face Everton at Everton with fans back, no way.
Yeah, I love it.
No way.
Not having it. Not a single chance of they getting that result then.
No.
moving on to the late game on Saturday, which is at 8 o'clock. It's Newcastle Fulham. Fulham are actually looking relatively all right, especially with that draw against Liverpool at home. I mean, they're looking like they've perked up a bit and sort of got into gear, especially with those late signings. You know, the likes of Lookman and Loftus-Cheek. Ivan Cavallero has come into a bit of his own recently, and they look like a good side, and they look like they could probably stay up. Not because of how good they are necessarily, but because there are teams below them that are just a lot worse, like Sheffield United being one, the poor fellas. Away to Newcastle obviously is going to be a tough trip. Depends on which Newcastle side turns up, and with St. Maximin and Wilson. But Doug, what are you thinking? Do you think Fulham will continue their good form, or?
Yeah, I remember watching Fulham at the beginning of the season, and I actually thought they were going to be the Sheffield United of the season, where they maybe get like a win or two, but they, for the most part, they just don't look like they're going to win many games or be in many games. And yeah, to your point, the last couple of weeks, like they've shown a lot more fight. They've shown a lot more emphasis on trying to get a result. And so I think this is one of those games where Newcastle is not a great side. Like they're okay, but they're a mid-table team. I think if Fulham is going to ride their high right now, unfortunately, I think this could be another draw because it's two bottom-tier table teams facing each other. And, this is like maybe like a 1-1, 0-0 type game where it's just like a slugfest, but not a lot of high action.
No, I don't think that as well. I think it could be, one of Fulham's infamous penalties that decides the game, really. I think I'd probably say, I'm going to say for a 2-1 Fulham. Keane, what are you thinking about this one, mate?
I think 2-1 Fulham as well. I think they're looks like they're turning the corner. I think the performance of Liverpool is quite good. I think they were unlucky not to win that game. I think Liverpool, we all know how dubious the decision was for Fulham not getting a penalty last week. That's absolutely scandalous. But look, I think Newcastle again, I think losing to Leeds again, that might kill the morale a bit. It's the fact that it was a comeback as well. And I think Steve Bruce is under a lot of pressure at the moment as well. So look, I think Fulham win 2-1. I'll echo your thoughts on.
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement there, to be honest. I'd say it's going to be a narrow victory for Fulham, but I wouldn't be surprised if Newcastle were to get something out of the game. Moving on to the Sunday fixtures, where it does spice up a little bit, and it's Brighton versus Sheffield United at 12 o'clock, and I just feel sorry for Sheffield United, man. It's the worst ever start for a team in league football history ever since 1888. That is a record you never want. It's just of all the records since they say a Premier League record, it's not that bad. It's 92. 1888.
But here's the thing: is imagine being Chris Wilder, and we were just talking about obviously like Lampard and Arteta and Solskjaer being under the gun all the time of getting results and doing that. They were talking yesterday. I was watching the game, obviously, and they were saying that Wilder, I guess, has now again, this could all change, but as of right now, the board for Sheffield said he's going to be the manager regardless of what happens. Like they were like,
well, yeah, because they shouldn't have been a Premier League team. Like he's the one.
But I'm just imagining he's playing with house money right now. It's like he might not win for the rest of the season. Now, if that happens, could I see them maybe getting rid of him? Sure, but like his job is safe as of right now, regardless of what happens. So it's if I'm him, I would actually figure out like last year they were a highly defensive side. I'm not saying they should change who they are. But like, if I want to try some different things or some different tactics, like I'm playing with house money right now. So a game against Brighton, who's a pretty good team by all standards and looks, like they'll probably finish mid-table.
But you say this, Brighton are only 2 points off the bottom three. They've played a lot of good football, but they haven't got any results.
Well, look at us.
It's a result. But it's a results business. Like you can play this. That's why Sam Allardyce has been brought in. You can play this nice football all you want, but like at the end of the day, if you're not getting results.
Well, hey, if they get relegated, I'm all about us going after Lamptey. That's a right.
Yeah, I mean, I would. Yeah, Lamptey, yes, but then you've already got a £50 million right back, which you paid for. And
I think we can get Lamptey for a cheapish buy.
You forget he's English, mate.
True, but either way.
He's English. The entire English media are already have the horn about him. Like, there's no...
Well, let's face facts. We'll overspend for whoever we get, but... Yeah. But yeah, I just think for Wilder, I think this could be... He needs to turn the season around somehow, right? We smacked him yesterday. Granted, they did come back. They made the game a little bit more interesting. But, I think for him, he needs to try to find a different way for Sheffield United to look competitive. And, it's not like he's got bad players. It's just he's not getting results. And so I think, sadly, they're going to lose this one too. But I don't know. If I was him, I'd take some chances because I'm playing with house money.
He's got nothing to lose really at this stage. I want to say that Sheffield will get something out of this game, but I can't see it really and truly. Keane, do you think Sheffield United will get something out of this game, or are they just condemned now? I don't think they're.
They're screwed, aren't they? There's no other way about it. They're making that Derby County team that got relegated look class at the moment. You know what I mean?
Rob Earnshaw, what a striker, Rob Earnshaw, mate. Robbie Savage in the middle of the park, absolute classic team. Oh.
But they're making that team look good at the moment. You know what I mean? And I think you look at that team, they're just screwed. And I think Brighton will have too much for them. I think Brighton will beat them. I think Brighton will beat them comfortably as well. I think Brighton will win 3-0.
Brighton will win 3-0. I honestly, I just don't think Sheffield have actually lost narrowly pretty much every game this season. So I'm actually gonna go for a Brighton win, but narrow. I'm going to say 2-1 Brighton. Moving on to a massive game in terms of the top and end of the table. Spurs Leicester, the 2:15 kickoff at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and it'll be an interesting one, especially with Leicester losing to Everton midweek and Leicester just lacking that consistency, and Tottenham will be trying to bounce back from that Liverpool result and keep on top of the table. And Doug, do you see Leicester going to Tottenham and getting a result, or is Mourinho going to park that bus and Jamie Vardy won't be having any parties?
Yeah, I think Vardy, even at his age, can still trouble a lot of center backs, and I just think that Mourinho's got that team on something else, and I think they're going to want to bounce back after that loss to Liverpool. So, I just think Tottenham's going to get the win there. I could see a 2-0 type scoreline. Son, Kane get a goal each. Back four shut down Vardy, and that's it.
2-0. I mean, I'd say I'm going to say a 1-0, sort of 70th minute Son goal, and I think that's what's going to happen. Keane, are you thinking along the same lines as us, or is Mourinho going to put on a masterclass and tear Leicester apart?
Do you know what? Every week on this show, I always pick an outside result, and I'm going to do it again this week. I'm going to go to 2-1 Leicester win. I think it'd be great to see Tottenham crash back down to earth and just proved again by their Spurs. I think that'd be absolutely fantastic, and I'd love to see Jamie Vardy score and Harry Kane not even get on the score sheet, because that's the controversy that'd show up. But yeah, for me, I'm going to go 2-1 Leicester, and Jamie Vardy's having the party, some blue wickets and some Red Bull and whatever other energy drink he has at half time.
I mean, you'll be hard getting, mate, because every pub in London is closed. So, I mean, you'll have to make a trip to an off-licence around Enfield somewhere. But I'm sure that's no bother to old Jamie James Vardinho, as I like to call him. Moving on to the biggest game for us this weekend, obviously, as United fans. Man United versus Leeds. The first game, I think it was the last time we played them in the League Cup with Michael Owen. We won that. Last time we played them at Old Trafford was in the FA Cup third round. We actually lost. I was at the game myself. It was 2010 or 2011. Jermaine Beckford scored. The game was, it was honestly. I was 10 or 11, and Leeds hadn't really been about since I was.
They're down League One, weren't they?
They were down in League One, yeah, and I hadn't really seen us ever play Leeds, and I wasn't familiar with the rivalry. And I was very much introduced to it as a kid that day, as I've seen people flaking the shit out of each other outside Old Trafford. But you know, it's an intense rivalry between the two clubs, and it's nice to see it renewed. And Leeds are, you know, old school team, man. Look, I've got a mate who's a Leeds fan. I've seen like what they get, like they're just old school fan base, hardcore. Gotta love the way they support their club, but hopefully we're going to do the business against them. And Keane, what are you thinking in terms of starting 11 for Sunday?
Right. I'd like to see De Gea in goal. I'd like to see De Gea come back between the six and big game, get him back in there.
After that blunder, I don't think Dino can be picked.
Yeah, definitely not. Again, by default, because we know they're kind of right back at the moment. Aaron Wan-Bissaka gets in there, but I think in the summer, for me, I think we have to get a bit of competition in there for him, because I think he's been quite average this season and he's getting away with it, I think. And I think we need to get some competition. And I'm not saying we have to replace him, but even get a Lamptey or someone like that in there to provide that competition if he is underperforming. Centre halves, again, look, I would like Harry Maguire to get dropped, but it's not going to happen. So, again, it's going to be Lindelof and Maguire. I think Luke Shaw comes back into the team for this game. I think with Leeds being attacking, I think we need Luke Shaw on the team. I think he's probably a better defender than Alex Telles. Telles is better going forward, but I think Luke Shaw is probably a more solid option in left back. He played really well against City as well. He'd actually done a good job on Riyad Mahrez, and he had to get taken off again. So, yeah, I would put Luke Shaw in a left back. My two midfielders, Nemanja Matic is dropped to the bench for this game. I don't think he can play 2 games in 1 week. And I think we need Fred's legs in there, especially the legs of Calvin Phillips in that midfield. I think Fred's tenacity is definitely needed in there. And the other midfielder then in there again, I know we all don't like him at the moment, but I think with his last couple of performances and his last couple of games, he has to play. I think Paul Pogba starts. I think he played very well against Sheffield, and he'd actually played quite well against City as well the other day. And even in Leipzig, when he came on, he made a difference as well. So, look, I hope he gets sold in the summer, but I think what Paul Pogba is now, he's an asset. He's not someone that we're going to love. He's like a house or a car. He's just an asset at the moment. Do you know what I mean? And we use him as much as we can now until we get rid of him. I think so. I think that's what that basically is at the moment. Again, look, my captain, Bruno Fernandes, number 10. Again, look, that I don't even have to justify that decision to put him in there. That speaks for itself.
Just say Bruno and move on, mate. No one needs explanation to that. No, everyone knows.
And then my front three, I'm going to go with Greenwood, Marshall, and Rashford. I think Cavani will be fit enough to come off the bench during the game, but I think
Cavani's banned at the moment.
Did the ban actually go through?
I think he has to the 4th of January.
He can play. Yeah, he has to the 4th of January. He can play.
Oh, can he play? Oh, I thought
he has to accept the ban. He has to accept the charge. He hasn't accepted it yet.
Okay.
He's the whole thing, but.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought he was out. Okay, there. No, well, it's another option in terms of bringing someone off the bench anyway, even if not starting.
Yeah, well, I think though the way Leeds play and the way they play a really high line, I think it's integral that we play Greenwood, Martial, and Rashford, just for the fact of the way they play. And I think like if we can transition the ball quick, like we have done the last couple of games, like Bruno and Pogba, I think we can really hurt Leeds. I think Leeds will score a goal in the game because look, we can't keep a clean sheet to save our life. But I think at the moment, I think we'll win 5-1. I actually think we could smash them on the weekend.
I mean, 5-1 is ambitious, Keane. I mean, I've had 2 bottles of Budweiser. How many cans of Clonmel champagne have you had, mate? Fucking hell, 5-1. Blimey, that's ambitious. Look, man, I love it. I love it. I can't deny. I mean, to be fair, Leeds do play a high line, and their back line is more open than a Scouse lady's legs after a couple of sambucas. But Ji-Sung Doug, what are you thinking in terms of your starting lineup? Were you dropping Hendo as well after that, terrible mistake against Sheffield?
Yeah, I think he does. So, Keane, you're kind of running like a 4-3-3 then, right? He just left.
Oh, he's upset that I said he was too ambitious. That's what's happened there.
He's had enough. So here's the problem: is like I don't see Solskjaer, even though I think he should. I don't see him playing a 4-3-3. Like I think he's going to go back to like a 4-2-3-1. I agree with Keane's back four, Wan-Bissaka because we have to. Maguire and Lindelof because we have to. And I do agree that Shaw has to come in because he does provide better stability on that left side in terms of defensive. I think Solskjaer is probably going to play McFred with Fred and McTominay sitting in front of the back four. And then he's probably going to go with a midfield three. Like, so if he did that, I think you could play Bruno, Pogba. Because I don't even know then. It's like on that right side.
It'd be Greenwood that'll probably get dropped. I'd say Rashford
You know what?
will end up playing on the right or something.
Rashford would probably play on the right and then like a Martial up top. But if you were going to go with a 4-3-3, what I would actually probably do is the back four we talked about. I agree that it would be probably Fred, Pogba, and Bruno in the mid. Because I don't like based on his couple performances. I agree. Like you can't drop Pogba right now, it is what it is. The front three though, believe it or not, I would actually probably go with Rashford, Martial, and possibly a shocker here. I would maybe start Dan James, and I am not a big Dan James fan. I don't think he belongs anywhere near a Premier League team.
Ricky just loves that selection right now.
But the reason I think Dan James in this game is interesting is because he does give a lot of energy. If they do play a high line, his speed is a weapon. He is defensively okay enough that I don't think that he's going to be too much of a threat. Now, the problem with that, though, I will say, is that makes our right side as we head into attack, unless you play balls through the middle, which is where I think Pogba and Bruno can pick a pass, you're not getting many crosses in from that right side because Wan-Bissaka is not great at doing it, and Dan James, his final ball is lacking sometimes too. So I would only use Dan James for the purpose of exploiting his pace. And if he's not working out, I would definitely make a very quick substitution. We're talking like halftime or earlier to bring on like a Greenwood or move Martial out and put Cavani up top, something like that. But I would give Dan James a run to start to see if he can't get us a quick goal and just use his speed and get in behind and either play Rashford with a cross, feed Martial, get a goal himself, and see if he can't just do something within the first 45. If he's not showing me anything, I'm taking him off right. I'm hooking him. Like he has 30 minutes. He has 30 minutes in my opinion.
I personally wouldn't let him on the fucking team bus, but
I can't.
Look, if he went to Leeds, look, I have nothing against him as a bloke. I just don't think he's an
I don't
extremely
believe
good
it.
footballer.
Oh no! Don't get me wrong. Keane's heard me talk like offline about this. Why Dan James is even on the team is beyond me. But I'm saying
Lingard is better than him. Like I don't understand how Lingard is not getting a place in the squad ahead of him. I think Lingard has a lot more to offer than James.
Well, apparently Lingard's going to Sheffield United, so that poor fucker. I mean,
ouch. Well,
that
that's what I'm saying. Is like the only reason I would consider Dan James for this one is literally because they play a high line, and I think his speed can he can exploit.
But what can he do after the speed? He can't play a fucking ball, and he can't shoot. He had a couple of good shots when he first joined. Fair enough. Southampton, Chelsea. That he doesn't have a final ball to save his fucking
He's like
life.
a corner forward. That's what he is like.
I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying. That's why I'm saying like I'm literally giving him 30-ish minutes.
But you give him 30 minutes, you can fuck the game. Just like
I don't think because here's the thing is I don't think he's defensively he's not a liability, right? So I think when you put him on the right with Wan-Bissaka, because Wan-Bissaka 1v1 can take down pretty much anyone. I think that's where I'm saying James is not a liability on defense. He's more of a liability on offense. But what's his one strength?
What is he saying, man?
yeah, but that's his fucking
Because I'm
position.
saying no. Listen. He's a liability on offense. You let me finish. He's a liability on offense when it comes to actually having to play a final ball in. But let's be fair. There have been times that he's played Rashford across that either Rashford or Martial just didn't finish it off. Like he's not.
A striker's not going to finish every chance. Like,
No. And I'm not saying I'm not saying that they should. But what I'm saying is he's not as god awful from a final ball in. Sometimes he does make the wrong decision. I will say that.
But he's a mid-table player.
I'm not saying he's not. All I'm saying is if there's one game I would pick Dan James in. If there's just one game, I think his speed can be a problem for Leeds. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. I appreciate that point, to be honest, Doug. I do. I mean, I
trust me. If the three of us were picking a team, I wouldn't like. If we were actually picking people to be on our team, our Man U team, he would be as far away as humanly possible. But since he is someone that's in the squad, I think in a singular game, he could be used in this game. He could be used.
He could be used. He could be something. He might be a possibility to bring on from the bench, but for me, I wouldn't have him anywhere near the starting 11. Obviously, Hendo's got to come out because of that error. And I think I was reading a quote from Ollie on Instagram today, and it basically seemed like he'd just sort of picked him just to be nice because it was a return to Bramwell Lane. And I don't like that, to be honest. I don't like that sort of a sympathy. And also, you show that level of like empathy to one player, and then you've completely ousted Sergio Romero and done that to him. So I just don't think it's fair. It's showing sort of favouritism. And if you're gonna pick a player, pick him on merit. Don't pick him because it's nice because he's returning to his loan club.
And not only just that, but like given the shambolic nature of which we conceded that first goal, like he hasn't played in how long? It's not been a long time, but like he hasn't played in a league game in a minute. And while the ball, like there's so many, the whole thing was just a mess. Because I actually think philosophically too, we need to stop trying to play out of the back because it just doesn't seem to be working. But to your point, I don't pick Henderson just because it's a feel good. You're coming back to Sheffield. Like that pick was just, I was calling for him when De Gea was having a couple iffy moments.
Yeah, but we were all calling for Hendo, and there was a time to bring him in. Right. And I think a majority of people were shocked to read the team sheet last night and see him starting, and I just didn't understand it. And then when I read that quote, it kind of pissed me off, to be honest. I just didn't get it. You know, being sentimental towards a game that's so crucial to us in terms of our charge to improve this season and possibly go for a title challenge. But moving on to the back four, obviously Wan-Bissaka is in there at right back. I would love to see Axel get in and get a game, but I just can't see it. I think, especially with the pace of Leeds, like the likes of Bamford and Harrison, I think he'd do great, but I don't think he's getting in. Lindelof, so I'd say Lindelof and Maguire probably. Lindelof obviously with a great assist to Rashi last night. Hopefully he can do more of that. I mean, that was one of the reasons we signed him. He was a great ball playing centre half. So hopefully he can show more of that in his game in terms of playing those balls in. And then I personally would go for Tellez at left back. I see your point about Shaw being better defensively, but I just feel like moving forward, Tellez is the man, and I just think he needs to get more and more game time and be there. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Shaw starting midfield. I probably would sort of a 4-2-3-1, sort of the same as Keane. Pretty much identical team to Keane, pretty much. Pogba, Fred, as those two holding. Can't drop Pogba at the moment, obviously, as we've all highlighted. Bruno Fernandes, the main man, who's probably going to score a hat-trick. And then we're going to have what I like to call M-cubed up front of Marcus, Mason and Martial. Mason on the right, Tony through the middle, and Marcus on the left. And I think that is going to be a team more than good enough to beat Leeds. Hopefully, Wan-Bissaka is able to deal with Jack Harrison because he has been a constant threat this season. He was brilliant against Liverpool. He was brilliant against Newcastle as well. So I could see him being a massive threat. And hopefully, Wan-Bissaka has his number like he has done to so many wingers in the past. But lads, score prediction on this game. It's crucial that we win this. We've got some massively hard games coming up. We need 3 points. Keane, fucking hell.
Kane's drunk.
Mate, go for it. Are you serious?
Yeah,
I'm actually probably not too far off of him. I'm going to say 4-2.
I mean, it's pretty fucking far off, Doug, to be honest, man. It's not too bad.
5-1, 4-2?
Yeah, but it doesn't sound as mental. That's all I'd say.
I'm going to check Paddy Thor and see what the odds are for United 5-1 now.
I mean, if you just want to throw away a tenner, Keane, mate, just give it to me. That's all I'll say. But I'm going to say 3-2 United. Another 3-2 for us. high-scoring, intense game, and it'll be exciting. And hopefully, we win it late on, and we're all jumping around the place, celebrating in our living rooms as we're all in some sort of a lockdown. Most of us around the world, and it'll be sad. But hopefully, I think what in terms of this one, lads, what are you thinking in terms of a title challenge now for United? Like, it is a possibility, and with how hard our next few games are, you know. Leicester on Boxing Day as well. Wolves after that. We've got some tough games coming up, and this is a crucial game. And Doug, do you think we can actually? I feel if we get 7 out of 9 points in the next 3 games, that we are challenging.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I think we'd have to win at least 2 of the next 3, and not drop any points. So, 2 wins and a draw. That's fine. I think the other thing that we have to be aware of is not losing key players. And by key players, I probably mean more one key player to injury, meaning Bruno. I will say this.
If we lose Bruno, we're fucked. No,
but what I'm saying is like the you know, hopefully nothing happens to him. But like you can definitely tell that the opposition has obviously picked up on the fact that he's our main talisman. And so if you can knock him off a little bit, get in his highs, you know, put a cleat into him every now and then, like it throws him off. Well, I'm just saying, like,
the fucking boot, mate. It's not a cleat. Get it right.
Whatever. Get out of here. Like, so what I'm saying is, like, the problem is I don't want one of those to turn into something that he has to be out for 2 weeks, right? 3 weeks, because that would destroy all the momentum that we've built. And so I'm just hoping that, to your point, like we get 2 wins, 1 draw, or 3 wins. That would be even better. And we also just get through this without a Bruno injury, to be honest with you, because that I think would be catastrophic to everything.
It would be catastrophic, but I mean, hopefully Donny van der Beek would then take his chance to prove it.
Listen, they just need to play him in general. I honestly, if we ever have this topic, like, I just don't understand what the coaching staff sees out of him during training sessions that they go, yeah, we can't play you. Like, he doesn't get on the pitch. Like, he comes on with like 10 minutes left all the time. And it's like,
can I be honest about Van der Beek?
What do you think about Donny?
He wasn't already signing number 1, I don't think. I think number 2.
But still, come on, that's ridiculous.
I think number 2. I think an informed Paul Pogba and informed Van der Beek, who are you taking?
Well,
if you want to be honest with ourselves,
but one comes around every fucking 3 or 4 months. That's
and it's not only just it's that, and then it's also like yesterday we were up 3-1 at what point in the game? You could have taken Bruno off, and you could have brought in Van der Beek, and I don't think we would have offensively. We didn't need any more. We were up 3-1, so we needed somebody who was actually going to get around and press and do the right things and play the small passes. Like, we needed to keep possession. When does Van der Beek come on? The 80th minute. And that's what I'm saying is, like, I don't care if he was a Solskjaer signing or not. I can understand if Van der Beek was Dan James and he wasn't very good and he wasn't his signing, I'd be like, okay, fair, you don't want to play him. Every time this guy's played, he looks like he belongs on this team. And that's what I'm trying to say is, like, I just don't get the substitutions, because in a tight game, would I leave Bruno on? Absolutely. If Pogba's at his best, you probably leave him on? Yes. But when we're up, we also don't make subs until like the 80th, 85th minute, and you bring him on for these 5-10 minute spells, and it's like, why? Like, why?
It was just out of order to bring him on that late, to be honest. You might as well just left the man on the bench. I think a player of that caliber, I mean, he's just being mugged off, and his agent came out early doors, and we all sort of dismissed it as just like, you know, it's only settling in period, but it doesn't look like Ollie. You know, I don't know what he doesn't see, because I think we all see a top quality player who definitely adds something to our starting 11. But it's not. Sadly, it's not us that picks the team, and we don't have much of a say in it. You know, so I can't. I just honestly can't see it for old Donny at the moment. He just maybe Pogba leaves in January. Maybe then he gets an opportunity. I can't see that happening, but I feel like he's going to have to wait. I feel like the only opportunity where Donny is starting in our 11 week in, week out is if we do get a Bruno injury. I think that's the only chance we see Donny van der Beek starting in our team week in, week out. really and truly. So I think we're all going for a United win and a high-scoring and entertaining game at Old Trafford, which the fans were so close to being at. I'd filled out a ballot. I thought I was going back to Old Trafford. And then everyone was just, Matt Hancock just decided, Manchester wasn't going to go into Tier 2, even though it had a lower infection rate than both Liverpool and London when they were put into Tier 2. So, but we won't talk about politics because we don't all want to get really pissed off about arseholes that don't really represent us. Moving on to the West Midlands derby, where Big Sam is making his long-awaited Premier League return. And we love to see Big Sam back in a dugout. There's nothing better than that big man back in there, scoffing down on a sausage roll. He loves it. Back at the Hawthorns. And they've got Villa at home. And I can't see anything but West Brom winning it. Because Big Sam is just going to have to do it on his first game. Doug, are you in the same boat as me, mate?
I mean, he's back. You're right. He is back, and I think West Brom. I think as a team, they should feel good about. Even though Bilic obviously got the sack right after it, like they're. It's not that they're playing well, but like I think they have enough to at least get a result out of this Villa game. Like I don't think they'll lose. But I also think that Villa is one of those sides that right now they've got a lot going for them. They've fallen off a little bit as of late, but they're a little inconsistent. But I think they're just they got Grealish. They've got a handful of guys that I think can still cause some problems for West Brom. So, but I do think with Allardyce coming in, they'll get at least a draw.
Draw for West Brom. Keane, are you thinking along the same lines, or is Grealish going to pull off a masterclass at the Hawthorns?
I think West Brom are going to win. I think Big Sam, as he said, you see the picture of him when his first training session, West Brom, people capturing it 4-4 fucking 2. Like, you know what I mean? This is it. Like, Sam Allardyce is going to come in, play 4-4-2.
Charlie Austin is getting straight back into that starting 11 because I can guarantee absolutely. Big Sam loves it.
Absolutely.
He's got that blonde hair. He's ready to roll.
Charlie Austin was fucking delighted that when he heard that Sam Allardyce announcement, he's like, yes, back in the team straight away.
Like, I think for me, look, I think it's going to be a 1-0 West Brom win. I think it's going to be a smash and grab, and Big Sam comes in, probably saves the day for West Brom. Relegation expert.
Relegated. Never been relegated from the Premier League, so I mean, he does get a lot of stick, but he does what he says. He does what he says on the tin. Big Sam does. I'm also going to agree with you, Keane. 1-0. I'm going to go for a Charlie Austin header in like the 80th minute or something like that. He might not start, but he'll come off the bench, and Big Sam will start him every game. And towards the end of the year, be saying that he should be called up to the England squad for the Euros. That's what I see happening, to be honest. He always does it though, doesn't he? Like, he just loves an English centre forward. Doesn't matter their style, just loves an English centre forward. Very patriotic man is Big Sam. Moving on to the Monday night fixtures, Burnley versus Wolves, 5:30. Any game with Burnley in it, you do just look at it and it does sort of just drain you a little bit because you're not excited. You're not particularly excited to watch Burnley, whoever they play. And it's Burnley-Wolves, obviously buzzing with that last-minute win against Chelsea again with Pedro Neto. Still obviously missing Raul Jimenez. But Burnley have picked up a few points recently. I did hear that they have picked up 4 more points than they have scored goals this season. So that will just tell you about everything you need to know about their style of play. Is that turf ball? Keane, how do you see this one playing out? Are Wolves going to get a narrow victory?
Yeah, I'm going to go with 2-0 Wolves. Wolves have too much, or I think they've just too much quality. Burnley are just horrible. And for me, I'm just going to go 2-0 Wolves. 2-0
Wolves. Doug, are you in the same boat as that? Are you thinking a 2-0 victory for Wolves, or can Burnley get something here?
No, I think Wolves will. 2-0 sounds pretty much right on.
Yes, Seki, mate, getting involved. 2-0 Wolves. I'm going to go for the same. And then we move on to the penultimate fixture of the Premier League craziness before we go into midweek Carabao Cup, which is, I'm so surprised that I didn't cancel that tournament this year. But we move on. Chelsea versus West Ham at Stamford Bridge. Frank Lampard, he must be desperate for a win now after 2 losses in a row. He'd only lost 1 all season before these 2 games. I mean, Doug, is he going to pull out all the stops? I mean, Moyes is doing amazing things with West Ham this season. I think they go 3 clear of Chelsea if they were to pull off a winner.
I was going to say they're only a point behind them in the table right now, which is stunning.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that it just goes to the fact that, like we talked about at the beginning, like Chelsea just doesn't look like a team that's together right now. Like they look like a bunch of 11 individuals that are out there doing random things and just trying to win a game. And like West Ham, I think the way that Moyes has them playing, they're moving as a unit. And so I actually think this, I know I've been saying it pretty much on every result, but I think this is going to be a draw because even it's at the Bridge, seriously, it's at the Bridge, but like I don't believe in Chelsea right now. I really don't.
No belief in that side. It's been knocked out of him. 2 losses in a bounce. Keane, is Frank Lampard going to be the darling of English media again, or is he going to lose 3 on the bounce and are Chelsea fans going to be calling for his head?
I think West Ham, as much as I don't like West Ham, they're not my cup of tea, but West Ham are going to win 2-1. I think West Ham are going to pull off a shock. I think Antonio, if he's on song, could really hurt that defence.
Talk about Antonio, mate. Haller is coming to his own.
Yeah, so I was just about to say it. Like, if Haller can maybe, target one of their centre halves, like, and he can get the better up in the air, I think that's key. And I think like even Jared Bowen is one of the most underrated players in the Premier League this season. I think he's been absolutely fantastic as well for West Ham. So, yeah, look, I'm going to go with 2-1 West Ham.
2-1 West Ham. I'm going to disagree there, Kev. I'm going to agree with Doug. I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go for a 1-1. I think Chelsea will think they'll be back on track, and late in the day, it's going to be a scrappy, like Thomas Souček header at the back post, 1-1. David Moyes is doing knee slides at Stamford Bridge, and Chelsea continue their bad run. That rounds up the fixtures, and I'd like to finish with a question, and as it is the festive period, just like to ask about some of your unique traditions that you have yourself. Just Doug, obviously you've got family, heritage all from Korea, Keane, Irish as well. So what have you got? Any traditions that are quite unique to your own family or unique to your own culture?
So actually, a fun fact for you guys is my family, even though I'm Korean, is not Korean. So I'm actually more similar to you guys in the sense that my dad is actually Irish, and so my mom is actually Italian and Hungarian. And so the family feasts are always, especially Christmas time, it's very heavy on the food, right? A lot of meat, a lot of potatoes, a lot of alcohol. And as a family tradition, though, we do the whole real tree sort of thing where we all go out and cut a tree down and all that fun stuff. So that's just like the usual family vibes.
Proper American. They go out and cut the tree themselves, get it down. Old school.
Try to act as manly as possible.
Get the lumber shirt on, get a pair of Timberlands on, saw out, loving it. Keane, right. Have you got any traditions, in your own house that's a bit unique to yourselves?
I was going to go down more the road. You said an Irish tradition, and you definitely lived through this traditional 12 pubs Christmas on the 23rd of December. That is a tradition in Ireland that we sadly won't have this year because our government have closed the pubs, but it's an unreal tradition, and Christmas Eve is nearly always a write-off these days, because it's just a wild night, and I always die about 2 deaths that night, and I always come back to life, which is absolutely fantastic.
Christmas Eve is probably in because obviously I'm in London, and Christmas Eve in the UK is probably one of the biggest nights out in the country. It's like, honestly, everyone goes out. You ruin Christmas morning. You're out till God knows what hour, and you come in and you're half steamed, and you decide to wrap presents, and it's just a chaotic idea that you would only think of in a non-sober state. But also a lovely tradition that is not to do with alcohol or drink is my mum always makes mutton pies, which is like a Kerry thing. They're nicknamed Kerry pies, like mutton meat, some sort of like lovely sort of a stewy sauce, It's like one of my favourite things. I eat it before I go on a night out on Christmas Eve. I'm probably throwing it up later on, but it is beautiful going down. But yeah, everyone has their own lovely traditions. It's just nice to have a look around and see what other people do. But that's it for now. We've gone on for over an hour, and let's get into these festivities that we plan to do and get rightly tanked up. And before we do that, we'll get the boys to give themselves a shout out. Keane, mate, where can the people catch up?
So you can catch me at Keane_Franey on Twitter for all your Bruno Fernandes propaganda daily. And also you can catch me on the Weekly Armchair Kickoff podcast. And we are recording our Manchester United versus Leeds United preview tonight. And we even have a Leeds fan on tonight, so that should be fun.
Brilliant. Doug, mate, where can they find you?
Twitter, G-Sung Doug. You can see me complaining about the United games, or for anyone over in the States that watches this, which I don't know if we have a large audience, I'm usually complaining about
my sister lives in the States, so there's a couple of our mates might watch it, but yeah.
So you'll find me whining and complaining about the NFL then too.
Yeah, I mean, he talks a lot of sense, does old Doug. He's a great guest. Love to have him on. Same as you, Keane. Please like, share, and subscribe. I am at 88 subscribers, 12 more, and we've got 7 days till Christmas. Be nice to do it. Would make me a happy man. So I'll talk to you all later. It was lovely chatting.